This video is brought to you by dogs, better than cats, and also ferrets. Taking a leaf out of the DC movie playbook, but not for Justice League and not for Wonder Woman, but for Batman v Superman and probably Suicide Squad, I can't really remember. There's already been the announcement of a Deadpool 2 extended cut to most likely coincide with the initial home release. We're talking more scenes, more jokes, more other things. Who knows what's going to be on it? Actually, I know because some of it has already been announced, which also means a lot of other people also know. So in this video, we're going to go through some of the extra stuff that'll be included, plus some missing scenes from the trailers, early concept art, early casting decisions, cameos that nearly happened, an alternate and pretty messed up post-credits scene, and more! But also maybe just that. So spoilers for Deadpool 2, even though you probably already knew that, but as I always say, it's better to be safe than lorry. Sorry, just to clarify, a lorry is how the Australians and the English say truck. It's a very common expression. You know what? It's not. I just made that up. Why don't we just do the thing that I said we'd do? Right, so it's commonplace in a film and or movie nowadays to include scenes in a trailer that don't end up in the final film. I talked more about this in my Avengers Infinity War similar video to whatever this is, and how for the most part, that was used in that film as a kind of misdirect. Deadpool 2 also makes use of this with a little bit of extra footage that could have led audiences to believe that the X-Force played a bigger role in the movie than they actually do. Maybe this was to be included in the audition montage, but we never saw Terry Crews' Bedlam and Shatterstar in action. There's also this extra little moment where Peter is asked if he has any extra powers that the team should know about, and he mentions this.
I have both type 1 and 2 diabetes.
I'm sure there's a bunch of other jokes that were removed, as it seems relatively easy to just redub Deadpool's dialogue when he's wearing the mask, but two others that can be seen in the trailers but not in the film are him commenting on how Cable's bullets are really fast, and the other is a conversation between Weasel and Wade alluding to how this sequel is going to be better than the first, but they should probably stop at 2.
They probably won't even make it 3.
Yeah, why would they? Stop at 2. You killed it.
The casting for Cable, I don't know if you remember, was a hot Hollywood topic for a lot of 2016 and 2017. This was after Deadpool flat out told the audience that the sequel was going to feature the first live action appearance of Cable. I mean, some people say that it was Cable that found the X-Men logo at the start of Days of Future Past, but to that I say, I mean, yeah, maybe. I guess it's possible that it's him. Anyways, rumors of the casting included Pierce Brosnan because of this photo, but it turned out that these three just happened to be at an airport at the same time, and he was never approached. A few actors that pushed hard for the role included Stephen Lang of Avatar and Avatar sequel fame, which is weird that he's coming back because, you know, he was riddled with giant arrows or whatever happened in the first one. But he's probably cloned or put into a big blue body. I'm sure we'll all see it. It's going to be great. Anyway, Stephen Lang, he never auditioned. And also, Dolph Lundgren at one point put his hand up for the role. Kyle Chandler and Mel Gibson were also thought to be in the running, as Mel Gibson in particular was mentioned in the Deadpool 1 post-credits scene, but nothing ever came of that. Plus, he's already expressed a distaste for comic book movies. But also, he once went in for a chat about directing Suicide Squad 2. So who really knows what is going on in the mind of Mel Gibson? Least of all, Mel Gibson, it would seem. Michael Shannon was reportedly the front runner. He was even the studio's top choice for the role, which was even reported by Variety, and they're generally on the ball for this kind of thing. However, forget all that, he didn't do it anyways. Plus, I want to talk about Brad Pitt. Now, if you've got a keen eye, or you were force-fed one of the thousands of spoiler articles telling you that Brad Pitt is in Deadpool 2, and you won't believe in what role, brackets, he's the Vanisher and he dies. But before this cameo happened, he was very nearly cast as Cable. The somehow 54-year-old actor was close to coming on board, as director David Leitch had worked with him before as a stunt coordinator and stunt double on films such as Fight Club, Ocean's 11, and Mr. and Mrs. ruined Jennifer Aniston's marriage. Leitch elaborated that Brad Pitt was incredibly interested in the property, but things didn't work out schedule-wise, but he goes on to say that he thinks he would have made an amazing Cable. David Leitch said that. Brad Pitt didn't say that about himself. The reason why, though, they still managed to squeeze him in a tiny role was because they left the door open for something like that to happen. The idea for the Vanisher came up, so Ryan Reynolds reached out, and Brad Pitt said no. I mean, yes, obviously he's in it. And if you care, there's even some early leaked concept art that shows what one Bradley Pitt would have looked like as Cable. Speaking of concept art, however, there's also some alternate X-Men costume designs for Colossus, and some stuff on Domino that was clearly put together before the role was cast, as it's not Zazie Beetz. Also, before the success of the original Deadpool, not the Deadpool in X-Men Origins, that was awful. I'm talking about Deadpool 2016. There were very early plans for an X-Force movie from director Jeff Wadlow, who helmed Kick-Ass 2. This movie, it seems, may have featured a very generic-looking Warpath, Cable, Domino, Cannonball, and Feral, and I'm kinda glad we never got this version. Right, let's get into early script ideas. Co-writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick said initially Vanessa wasn't to die, but she was going to break up with Deadpool, and the movie would then shift focus to him trying to get her back. It was thought, though, that Deadpool works best when he's experiencing great suffering, so this was changed to having her killed and having that be a result of his line of work. There was another early version that was scrapped very early on, according to Ryan Reynolds. That was that the Deadpool and Vanessa story picks up 5 years after the last, and they have a child together. He elaborated that they quickly realized that that was never going to work, so the story was changed to them wanting a child instead. There was also additional X-Force audition moments that were shot that never made it in. Just a string of random and bizarre people coming on by to interview. One cameo that was talked about was that of Chris Evans, who plays Captain America. But before he played that comic book character, he played another comic book role in Snowpiercer. Sorry, not that, I mean Scott Pilgrim. Sorry, not that, I mean The Losers. Sorry, not that, I mean the 2007 animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Sorry, not that, I mean The Fantastic Four. This was never shot, but the idea was that the audience would assume that he was showing up as Captain America, but then Deadpool calls him out on being the Human Torch instead. Why don't we now, though, get into the specifics of the director's cut? Here's what we know. It's obviously going to be longer. It would be weirder if it was shorter, I guess, and a lot gorier. Gorier than even, say, a man being torn in half. The Yakuza bathhouse fight scene, which is I think the one where Deadpool gets the blood in his eye in the opening montage, originally had a seamless 360-degree shot that director David Leitch said was really fun. And seeing as he's one of the John Wick guys, I would very much like to see this. Also, that moment in the film where Wade Wilson is trying to kill himself, there was going to be a lot more of that in what was labeled a suicide montage. Not dissimilar, I'd imagine, to that of Groundhog Day. One moment had him entering a polar bear enclosure, and another him drinking Drano. We also know that there's going to be some extra fun domino stuff, and a moment where Deadpool is in the X-Mansion kitchen, labeling all the items. And then Negasonic Teenage Warhead says she doesn't buy his going straight routine. This director's cut is also going to be the joint effort of Ryan Reynolds, writers Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese, plus director David Leitch, with a focus on it being a fun collaboration and getting all the jokes in that they want. Speaking of jokes, however, there was one joke deemed so offensive that was aimed at Disney that it was entirely removed at the request of Fox, with it unlikely to ever see the light of day. Here's Ryan Reynolds talking about it.
And at the time, I was saying, over my dead body, we're not taking this joke. And then, of course, in retrospect, I'm really glad we did. We just went a little too dark. And it was sort of at the expense of Disney. And they're, not an insignificant corporation that you don't want to anger.
Deadpool 2 is lauded as having one of the best post-credits sequences of all films ever in the history of movies. Even better than that of Masters of the Universe from 1987.
I will be back.
Yeah, but he didn't come back. I think he drowned? But the Deadpool 2 post-credits sequence, it should be celebrated. They're just having a real fun time with it, and I think that's great. Good on them. However, there was a sequence considered too dark and upsetting, even for Deadpool. What I'm about to detail was apparently shot, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get this popping up on home release. So we get Deadpool standing in a newborn ward next to a crib marked A. Hitler, indicating that he's traveled back to 1889 to the year of Hitler's birth in order to kill him. As baby Hitler is crying, Deadpool yells, "Shut up, Ira, you'll thank me someday for this," as he paces back and forth, weighing up whether he can actually do this. So to make things a little easier for himself, he finds a Sharpie and draws a little mustache on the baby, then saying, "Maximum effort," as we see him, from baby Hitler's point of view, moving in to strangle an infant to death. This was going to be the end of the film. Director David Leitch says that the scene does sort of leave it open to audiences in terms of what ended up happening, and that also what he loves about this scene is it makes you think about the character and who Deadpool really is, and also what was the moral of the story that we'd just seen and how it's now being applied to this crazy situation. Anyways, that's fun, isn't it? Alright, is there anything from all of this stuff that didn't make it in that you would have liked to have seen? some casting, some deleted scenes, the post-credits, whatever? If so, please feel free to leave it in the comments. Also, if you feel like it, leave a like on this video because it helps this video do the YouTube algorithm thing. And also if you're keen, subscribe and also bell icon because there's videos here every Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday, including a solo Easter egg video coming up real soon. Also, I have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. Last Monday, we got stuck into Deadpool 2, and this Monday, we're getting stuck into Solo. That's linked below if you want to check it out, or head on over to planetbroadcasting.com for all the podcasts and videos and much more stuff. But thanks for watching this. I appreciate it. Take care.